This is the early edition, a curated weekday guide to major news and developments over the past 24 hours. Curated by Lizzie Jennings and read by an automated voice. Published March 4th, 2026 on Just Security, an essential resource for those shaping a just and secure world. Here's today's news. Iran war. A container ship has reported being hit by an unknown projectile just above the waterline, causing a fire in the engine room in the Strait of Hormuz today, according to the UK Maritime Trade Operations (UKMTO) Centre. The Maltese-flagged container ship Safine Prestige was transiting eastbound in the strait. The crew have now abandoned the vessel. A ballistic missile fired from Iran and heading into Turkish airspace was destroyed by NATO air and missile defense systems in the eastern Mediterranean Sea today, the Turkish Defense Ministry said. Gul Twaysuz and Catherine Nichols report for CNN. The Israeli military has begun broad-scale strikes targeting Iranian terror regime targets in Tehran, it said this morning in a statement. This is the 10th wave of attacks since the U.S.-Israeli joint operation began on Saturday. Jesse Yun, Leila Garagazlu, and Eugenia Yosef report for CNN. French President Emmanuel Macron yesterday announced that the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier was being deployed to the Mediterranean to bolster Allied defenses amid the escalating conflict. Clea Calcutt and Laura Kayali report for Politico. Samuel Petroquin reports for AP News. Israeli airstrikes yesterday struck the building housing Iran's Council of Experts in the city of Qom in an attempt to disrupt the process of appointing a new supreme leader, an Israeli defense official said. There was another hit today on the new leadership, and it looks like it was pretty substantial, President Trump said in the Oval Office. So they're getting hit very hard. Iranian state media said the building was evacuated before the attack. Barak Ravid reports for Axios. Adam Cancrin reports for CNN. Kara Fox and Oren Lieberman report for CNN. During the meeting of Iran's Council of Experts yesterday, Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of former Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, emerged as the leading candidate to become the next Supreme Leader, according to 3 Iranian officials. The officials said there were discussions about announcing him as successor as early as today, but some expressed concern that doing so could make him a target. Farnaz Fasihi reports for the New York Times. Iranian strikes in recent days have damaged structures that are part of or near communication and radar systems on at least 7 U.S. military sites across the Middle East, according to a New York Times analysis of satellite imagery and verified videos. Devin Lum, Haley Willis, and Riley Mellon report. The United Arab Emirates is considering taking military action against Iran to stop strikes on the UAE, 2 sources told Axios. One of the sources said that the UAE has endured 800 projectiles since Saturday, adding, "The view in the UAE is that no country in the world would fail to evaluate its defensive posture under such circumstances," Barak Ravid reports. Trump said yesterday that the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation will provide insurance guarantees at a very reasonable price to help ensure the flow of energy and other commercial trade through the Strait of Hormuz. Trump also said the United States may provide naval escorts to ensure safe passage for oil tankers and other vessels. An Iranian official on Monday threatened to set fire to any ship trying to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and the Iranian military has reportedly fired on several vessels in the area. Jennifer A. Glauhi, Ben Bartenstein, and Ari Nader report for Bloomberg. Natalie Sherman reports for BBC News. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called Trump last week and told him that Khamenei and his top advisors were all set to meet at one location in Tehran on Saturday morning, according to 3 sources. Netanyahu told Trump they could all be killed in a single strike. By Thursday, the CIA had fully confirmed that these people were all going to be together, and we needed to take advantage of it, a source said. Mark Caputo and Barak Ravid report for Axios. Iranian ambassador to the UN, Ali Bahraini, told reporters yesterday that Iran had not contacted the United States, either directly or indirectly, about holding talks to de-escalate the conflict. For the time being, we are very doubtful about the usefulness of negotiation. The only language for talking with the United States is the language of defense, Bahraini said. Olivia Lapoitevin. Iran war, political response. Macron said yesterday that the U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran that began on Saturday were conducted outside of international law, adding that Paris cannot approve of them. He also blamed Iran's nuclear and regional activities for fueling the crisis. Earlier this week, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez called the war against Iran unjustified, dangerous, and illegal, and refused to let the U.S. military use its bases for missions linked to strikes on Iran. This prompted Trump to threaten to cut off all trade with Madrid during a press conference yesterday alongside German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Spain has been very, very uncooperative, and so has the UK, Trump said. Clea Calcutt and Laura Kayali report for Politico. Aitor Hernandez Morales reports for Politico. Nandita Bose, David Lauder, and Victoria Waldersee report for Reuters. Secretary of State Marco Rubio yesterday sought to walk back his earlier assertion that U.S. military action in Iran was precipitated by Israel's plans to strike first. The bottom line is this: the president determined we were not going to get hit first. It's that simple, guys, Rubio told reporters ahead of a pair of classified briefings. Rubio said it was the threat of Iran's increasing military capability and growing arsenal of weapons that ultimately influenced Trump's decision. Lawmakers emerged from classified briefings with top administration officials yesterday, with divergent assessments of the case they had made for war in Iran, falling largely along party lines. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, DNY, said the meeting was very unsatisfying and that the administration had different answers every day about why Trump ordered strikes on Iran. House Speaker Mike Johnson, RLA, this is really a very simple matter. It's about the building of ballistic missiles. This created an imminent and serious threat. Robert Jimison and Megan Minero report for the New York Times. Several lawmakers said they expect Trump to request emergency supplemental funding for the military campaign in Iran, as senior administration officials described a potentially open-ended operation that could exceed the nearly $1 trillion already allocated to the military. Jennifer Schultes and Catherine Tully McManus report for Politico. 6 House Democrats have introduced a new war powers resolution that would call for an end to military operations in Iran within 30 days, unless Congress provides authorization for the use of military force or a declaration of war. In contrast, the resolution that is being forced for consideration tomorrow from Representatives Thomas Massie, Republican Kentucky, and Ro Khanna, Democrat California, would require the immediate withdrawal of troops from Iran. Sudanese civil war. Sudan has accused Ethiopia of allowing drones to be launched from Ethiopia into Sudan to carry out attacks in February and March, according to a statement released by the Sudanese Foreign Ministry on Monday. This is the first time Sudan has directly accused Ethiopia of involvement in its civil war, Reuters reports. Other global developments. OpenAI is considering a contract to deploy its AI technology on NATO's unclassified networks, an OpenAI spokesperson said yesterday. CEO Sam Altman had previously said that the company was looking to deploy on all NATO's classified networks, but the spokesperson clarified that this was a mistake. Hyun-Soo Yim reports for Reuters. 26 Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières. Workers remain unaccounted for a month after attacks in Lankian and Pieri, South Sudan, MSF said in a statement on Monday. Joseph Falzetta reports for AP News. U.S., Caribbean, and Pacific operations. The Trump administration is building a legal case against Venezuelan interim president Delcy Rodriguez, including readying an indictment, according to 4 sources. Federal prosecutors have put together possible corruption and money laundering charges and have communicated to Rodriguez that she is at risk of prosecution unless she continues to comply with Trump's demands, the sources said. After Reuters published a summary of this report, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche wrote on social media, "Completely false from @Reuters. Not sure how such fake news makes its way to publication." Sarah Kanosian and Matt Spedalnik report. The United States and Ecuador have launched joint military operations against designated terrorist organizations in Ecuador, the Pentagon announced yesterday. U.S. Special Forces soldiers are advising and supporting Ecuadorian commandos on raids across the country against suspected drug shipment facilities, according to a U.S. official. U.S. personnel are not believed to be participating in the actual raids. Eric Schmidt and Luis Ferrey Siderni report for the New York Times. Cuban prosecutors formally charged 6 people with crimes of terrorism and ordered them held in pretrial detention yesterday, in connection with an incident last week in which Cuban forces killed 4 Cuban nationals aboard a speedboat that entered Cuban waters. Daniel Trotta reports for Reuters. U.S. immigration developments. The Trump administration is directing all pregnant unaccompanied minors detained by immigration authorities to a single group shelter in South Texas, despite objections from health and child welfare officials who warn the facility and region lack adequate specialized care. Several officials within the Office of Refugee Resettlement say the move departs from long-standing federal practice and could endanger vulnerable girls, some as young as 13, and many pregnant due to rape, by relocating them to Texas in what they view as a possible effort to restrict access to abortion for ideological reasons. Mahmoud Khalil on Monday appeals an immigration judge's deportation order to the Board of Immigration Appeals, arguing that the judge committed clear factual and legal errors on numerous accounts. Erica Orden reports for Politico. U.S. domestic developments. The Homeland Security Department has opened an internal investigation into a report that Senior Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino made disparaging remarks about the Jewish faith of a U.S. attorney in Minnesota, Daniel N. Rosen, during the immigration crackdown in the state. Ernesto Londono and Hamed Aliaziz report for the New York Times. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick yesterday agreed to sit for an interview with the House Oversight Committee about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Members of the committee had been weighing a move to force the panel's chairman, Representative James R. Comer, RKY, to issue a subpoena, sources said. However, Lutnick proactively agreed to appear voluntarily, Comer said. Michael Gold reports for the New York Times. Trump administration actions. The Trump administration plans to meet with executives from the biggest U.S. defense contractors at the White House on Friday to discuss accelerating weapons production, 5 sources told Reuters, Mike Stone reports. The Homeland Security Department has been systemically obstructing investigations by withholding records, Inspector General Joseph Kufari said in a letter to Congress released yesterday. Kufari's letter outlined at least 10 investigations in which his office has been denied access to records and information. Kufari said that DHS Secretary Kristi Noem had recently asked him for a list of all pending OIG matters, including criminal matters, so that she may consider whether any audits, inspections, or investigations should be terminated. Eric Bazile-Amel reports for Politico. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has rescinded a 2021 Justice Department policy that restricted when law enforcement agents executing a search could enter a home without knocking. A DOJ memo signed by Blanche says no-knock entries are now permissible for a broader set of searches, not just when law enforcement fears safety risks, but also when there is a risk that evidence could be destroyed. Carol Leonig reports for MS Now. The National Capital Planning Commission has received about 32,000 comments during its public comment period about Trump's White House ballroom plans. According to an analysis by the New York Times, more than 98% of comments are negative. Luke Broadwater and Dylan Friedman report. Trump administration litigation. The Justice Department told a federal appeals court yesterday that the administration plans to continue defending Trump's executive orders targeting law firms. DOJ lawyers did not explain the shift from Monday's position. Daniel Barnes and Josh Gerstein report for Politico. Minnesota officials filed a lawsuit on Monday against the Trump administration over a decision to withhold $259 million in Medicaid funds from the state. Mitch Smith reports for the New York Times. Thank you for listening to Just Security's Early Edition today, March 4th. If you enjoy listening, Just Security's analytic articles are also available in audio form on the justsecurity.org website. To stay up to date on Just Security's analysis of law, policy, and current events, go to justsecurity.org, subscribe to Just Security on Substack, and follow us on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads.